Good morning, Senator and Chairman Murkowski and members of the committee. My name is Stanley Mack, and I'm an Aleut. I was born and raised in King Cove. I've been the mayor of the Aleutians East Borough for at least the last 14 years. King Cove is the second largest community in the borough with a population of 900. It's my privilege and responsibility this morning to address this committee on behalf of all King Cove and the Aleutians East residents, and to say thank you, Senator Murkowski, for being such an incredible champion on this issue and this cause. Simply stated, the residents of King Cove continue to desperately need a dependable, safe, and affordable means of transportation access to Cove Bay Airport, which is our lifeline to the outside world, particularly for medical and health needs. The only logical form of transportation access is a one-lane, 11-mile gravel road that will connect King Cove to the Cove Bay Airport. Those of you who don't know, Cove Bay Airport is an anomaly in rural Alaska. It's an all-weather airport, as the Senator has spoken about, having a 10-foot main runway, a 6,500-foot crosswind runway. It was built by the U.S. military as one in Yakutat in 1942 as part of the Aleutian campaign, World War II. It's one of the most accessible all-weather airports in Alaska and open on a 24/7 basis, 365 days a year. Contrast this airport to the King Cove airstrip, which is 18 air miles away and has a 3,000-foot gravel runway available only during the daylight hours. The King Cove airstrip is, and I use that term airstrip because that's all it is precariously located between two mountain peaks. And as you can see, the peaks that we have to fly through here on some of the pictures. Flights are subject to extreme weather, including turbulence throughout the year, high winds, thick fog, and snow squalls, resulting in cancellations or delays of flights about 100 days a year. Many King Cove residents have a fear of flying because of these conditions. And we'll show you pictures of the reasons why. Our weather is some of the most treacherous in the world, with 15-foot seas in winter and winds well over 50 miles an hour throughout most of the year. We're known as a place where storms are born. We try to make the hovercraft work, which is going to be a topic of discussion, I'm sure, to link King Cove and Cove Bay. But after 3 hours of operations, we realized our weather and operational problems and a required annual subsidy of more than $1 million made it unacceptable. As the borough mayor, I had the fiduciary responsibility to suspend the unsustainable operations. As I consider all my options and responsibility, I sincerely believe the passage of the 2009 Omnibus Public Lands Act would finally resolve our transportation access problem by getting to Cove Bay Airport. But after Secretary Jewell's decision in December 2013 to not authorize the road, we continue to find ourselves at the mercy of our high volatile wind, marine conditions, and topographic constraints. I'm also very disappointed and frustrated that the Secretary's decision was based on a very biased and scientifically flawed EIS process completed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. It eventually became very clear to me that our local knowledge of the environment did not matter to the federal government. It also became very clear to me that any trust responsibility for Indigenous Americans or government-to-government relationships are just a bunch of fancy words. I'm also very frustrated that critics still continue to talk about other forms of marine infrastructure and vessels that they believe will adequately address our problems. These are suggestions that are not viable. We cannot mitigate the forces of nature in our marine environment. I have been a fisherman for over 60 years in this area, and I know about the never-ending challenges of the oceans, bays, vessels, and the weather. I have a number of photos to show the committee that illustrate some of the challenges of weather conditions and when contend with dealing with the marine medevacs out of King Cove to the Cove Bay dock. Here's a picture of a 125-foot crab vessel trying to get near the dock in Cove Bay. It was unable to do that because of the fact that the weather conditions, the wind was too high and the seas were too rough. Here's a picture of the icing conditions that no one seems to want to put on the forefront to show you that this dock is a quarter of a mile from the beach and the ice pack is nearly a half a mile off there. If you were to put any kind of infrastructure in the front of that dock, it would stop the flow of the tidal action to where that ice will remain there for a long period of time. The dock is at least 20 feet high. Strapping an injured patient in a gurney and hoisting them up from the dock up to the dock on a boat, which can be as much as 25 feet, is always a scary situation. This is basically what you have to do. Or putting elders in a crab pot and using a crane to hoist them to the top of the dock is frightening. Most people do not realize that both the high winds and ice can prevent us from using boats or barges or larger fishing vessels from access in the Cove Bay dock. We must, I emphasize must, have this modest one-lane gravel road for transportation. I respectfully ask this committee to support our road alternative and allow us the dignity and respect to have what most American citizens simply take for granted. In closing, I want to say thank you, Senator Murkowski, for caring so much about our lives and working with conviction and passion and helping us to achieve this needed road to the access to the Cove Bay Airport. I respectfully ask all the committee members to support Senator Murkowski's effort to authorize this road and significantly enhance the quality of our lives. Our life matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Desideri.